Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you've been following my channel, you know that I've been working on a restoration of this 328xi manual transmission 2009 BMW. It's been great car. I love this vehicle, even though that I am not a BMW enthusiast. I am more Mercedes-Benz, but this particular vehicle is worth to invest, in my opinion. Anyway, recently I replaced two front shocks, and that's on my other video if you want to watch. But the problem that happened after a replacement few days later, my car started to make clicking noise. So click, click, click 3-4 times every time I try to drive out of the parking, and then that clicking noise disappear after 5-10 minutes after the car warms up. So basically after sitting overnight, that's when I hear this clicking noise once a day. I think I know what happened. It's a bolt that tightening the strut, tightening knuckle that holding the strut. I think that the strut is making micro turns, movements, and just need to be retightened. I better lubricate that particular bolt with the anti-seize, and it should improve a lot. But there could be other reasons for this click, click, click noise. So let me show you other weak spots or possible spots that you should check if you have the same problem. So stay tuned. Safety number one, guys: choke your wheels, jack stand, parking brake, only then remove your jack. I'm going to remove both wheels because I'm going to do this procedure on both sides. I am using impact gun when I'm removing my wheels, so that's why the car can be off the ground. But if you don't have an impact gun, your vehicle is supposed to be on the ground first, so the weight of the vehicle is going to hold your wheel from not moving, and only then you can break loose those lug nuts, bolts. Now in my case, after I replaced those struts with new ones a couple days ago, I think that this bolt that holding this strut from not spinning inside, I think that this bolt has to be retightened. But I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to lubricate it with anti-seize. So let me show you how. This is an 18mm bolt, by the way, nut. Now after removing the nut, here's my bolt, and if you look closely, there is marks from probably like a touching point where it's bolt touching knuckle, I am assuming. And here's two more spots that I can see. So most likely that's where it's make that clicking, scratching noise, micro turns. So I'm going to lubricate with anti-seize this portion right here. I can clean it, or I don't even have to clean it, but the anti-seize should help from making that little cracking noise. So let's do it. So I cleaned that bolt with a wire brush, and cleaned it with the rubbing alcohol because I don't have a brake cleaner, plus this is the cheaper option. And as you can see, I completely lubricated with a not very thick but not very thin layer, as long as I'm not touching the thread, because it's very important. By the way, some people say, or maybe even factory recommend to replace those bolts because they are stretchable bolts. Maybe that's why it started to get loose, so I'm going to apply a little bit more torque than factory says, in case this bolt is already stretched. But if I'm going to break it, I'll have to buy a new bolt, which is no big deal. It's not that expensive. So I'm going to take my torque wrench, and I'm going to tighten it to 110 Newton meters. I believe that factory says that it has to be torqued at 100 Newton meters, but I'll do 110, and I'll do the same on the other side. Now before I'm going to use my torque wrench and apply 110 Newton meters, I'm using my jack to lift up the entire knuckle to simulate load, just like the vehicle would be sitting on the ground, because I want to make sure that this strut is sitting all the way on its spot, all the way inside of the knuckle. So I'm lifting it up, and this way I'm pushing this knuckle in up position, plus it's confirming me by compressing this spring a little bit. Only now I'm ready to retorque this bolt. Before I'm going to reinstall my wheel back, or you're going to reinstall your wheel back, make sure that you have a clean brake disc and around this flange. My brake disc is brand new, so it's very clean, but my rim itself has some corrosion, slight layer of a corrosion. I want to clean it, and I'm going to use this type of a brake hub cleaning disc kit right here, and I've been very happy with the quality, by the way. It's worth it. So if you're not going to clean this and going to have some corrosion, that's where that click 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 noise might come from, especially when you have a loose lug nuts, lug bolts. So make sure that you're going to retorque your lug nuts to the torque specification. For example, my BMW has a M12 size, so I'm going to torque it to 120 Newton meters. Very easy to remember. M12, 120. If I would have M14, I would retorque them to 140 Newton meters. So M12, 120, M14, 140. I've been doing this for years without any problems, without stripping a single lug nut. So if somebody thinks this is too much, well, I understand your opinion, but I've been happy with my numbers so far. So the next possible reason for making this click 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 noise would be your steering rack, but for this you would have to remove your splash shield, so you can have access to the steering rack bolts, which is 1 and number 2. If those two bolts are not tight, then the steering rack is going to shift just a little bit. As I said, it's going to be micro shift, micro crack noise. So that would be another reason. But those bolts, they are not just the bolts, they have nuts on the top, so you would have to reach it with a wrench from the top and hold it while you're trying to torque those two bolts. That would be another very common reason. Not very common, but yes, I've seen it before, especially on the BMW, because that's how it's built, and so you have to make sure that it's tight. But if you have a constant clicking noise, most likely you have either CV joint that needs to be replaced, especially if your car is over 120,000 miles, and it can be your strut mount. So mine is rebuilt. I put a new strut mounts and all other components, including the top mount, which have a bearing inside. So if you never touch your strut, if it's original, you never replaced any of the components on the strut, check on that strut mount. Most likely that strut mount will make that noise every time you turn your steering wheel, especially on the parking lot where the speed is very slow, because on the high speed you will not feel it that much. Well, other than that, if nothing of that helped in your case, I would recommend you to maybe check your entire suspension components. Maybe you have some other invisible problems that you cannot really feel it with your hand, and you better go to the shop and ask them to do the more detailed, more accurate inspection. Maybe they have more experience. So thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you and you're going to get rid of that click 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 noise. And God bless you, God bless America, Canada and Ukraine. Bye.